Hey guys, welcome back to Buddy RC. My name is Clay, and today we're going to do a very requested video. So I'm actually going to go through a couple different ways to bind these today. So I'm going to show you, of course, the OMP protocol on both helicopters with all three radios, but I'm also going to show the Futaba satellite on these guys as well. So they're very similar in the same fact. It's the same kind of protocol, so it's OMP protocol, so it's the same setup for both helicopters. So let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing we're going to start out with is the M1. So I don't have a satellite on this, it's just straight OMP protocol. So let's show you how to do that on the TX16. I actually already have my own setup already on the TX16S, so we're just going to use that. It's not the stock one, this is a modified one for me personally. So I'm going to show you guys real quick where to go. All right, so we're on our home screen here. So what you're going to do is go ahead and press your model button, and then we're going to scroll down to where it says external RF. Because this one's external, yours will say internal if you have the 4-in-1. I run the 4-in-1 module on a ELRS transmitter, so that's the only reason you'll see external on this one. So this one I have set up for OMP. So we're going to go down here to OMP, wherever it's at. Nope, past it, there it is. All right, so we're going to go to the OMP protocol on multi, and then we'll scroll down and we'll be ready to bind. So go ahead and take your helicopter out of the box, charge up your battery, and throw it in the helicopter. Now there's a little button on the side here. It's really hard to see. Let me see if I can get it up here. So it is the back button of the two buttons. So there's a button in the back and a button in the front. You're wanting to press that back button. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and hold that back button, little black button going down. Don't hold the set button, just the black bind button. So we'll hold that, and we got a flashing light, which means, yep, we're good to go. Make sure our throttle hold is on. We're hitting bind and it should react. We are bound. So basically right now this is the OMP protocol setup. So things are a little different than my setup, so I don't want to throttle it up or anything. But that is how you bind a TX16S to the OMP protocol. Now we'll go over to the M2 and I'll show you how to bind that. All right, so we got our M2 here. I'm going to go ahead and take off the canopy. And as you can see, this is a little bit different. So this has the bind button on the side of it, which you can normally reach with like a fingernail if you possibly can, but it's on the side of the flight board here, not this right here. This is added by me. But this right here is just gonna be for the OMP protocol. Again, we have our throttle hold on. We have the helicopter ready to be plugged in. I recommend personally using like a 1.5 wrench. Let me see if I can find one real quick. So I've got a 2mm that'll work. So just put it in the side there, press the little button, you'll feel it click. And then while you're holding that, go ahead and plug her in. Let me get it ready to plug in here. It's a little hard to do. Like I said, it's a two-handed job. Normally I have a friend help me, but in this instance, I don't have anybody around. I'll always show you guys how to do it. So I recommend hitting it with a 2 out. Now we're flashing. So as that's flashing, we are good to go. We're gonna go ahead and hit bind. And as soon as it goes, we're good to go. Now everything's bound. That is the OMP protocol on the M2. Now, I run the Futaba protocol. So what that allows you to do is actually plug into the little S-Bus port here. This is the OMP Futaba one with the little Bluetooth style antenna. So what this allows you to do is actually edit the program for the helicopter. So you can go in and change your throttle curves, and you can give it less or more. I like to play around with low head speed stuff on these, so it's really nice to be able to mess with those throttle curves. But the only way to do that is if you use the Futaba or any other kind of satellite. You can't use the internal program. The internal program is just on there, ready to go. So let's go ahead and bind this up. So again, we're gonna go to our model and we're gonna scroll down. Yours will say internal again, as I said before. If it's a 4-in-1 TX16, or if it's an ELRS with a 4-in-1 module, you'll go to external. So let's go up to Futaba. And there's Futaba. So we're on SFHSS, which is what this little guy is. So what we'll do is I'll have it plugged into the S-Bus port right there, and then I'll just hold the button, and plug her in. And we're flashing. We're going to come down here, we're hit bind, and we're bound, and it's good to go. So everything is good on this one. So now, with that being said, we got the TX16 all hooked up to our M2 and M1. So now we're going to jump into the Zorro and the Pocket. They're very similar. There's a couple differences, of course, because it's a different radio. But we're going to start with the Zorro because that's what comes with the M2 ready to fly. So ignore the little hanging battery. So I just don't have any of the little batteries for this right now, so I'm just using one of these to run through this real quick. All right, so I kind of want to explain a few things with the RadioMaster setup that comes with your M. I just want to explain. All right, I just wanted to explain something real quick, kind of the button layout, what you guys need to know about the RadioMaster Zorro. On your Ready to Fly M2, there's already a program in there for the M2. Don't mess with it. It is a fantastic program. It's got everything you want in the actual program, like your throttle hold, your idle up, your throttle curves, your pitch curves, and also your stability and acro modes. So the way I see it is this should always be your throttle hold. So forwards towards you is engine off, and it will actually say that. Engine off. So this is your throttle hold here. This up here, I don't think is anything on this one, but right here is your flight modes, your normal, your idle up 1, idle up 2. And then down here we have our acro and our regular modes. Stable mode. So stable is down. So if you're a beginner, I recommend with all these switches except for this one away from you when you turn the helicopter on. So we're going to go ahead and bind up the M2. So I'm going to go into the models, and it's the second one. Ready to go. Now we're going to scroll down. It's pretty far down. So you're going to scroll all the way down to internal, RF. There it is. Now we're on multi and OMP, so we're ready to bind. So same thing again, we're gonna go ahead and flip the helicopter to the side. We're gonna hold the little black button down and plug it in. Right now the button was pressed while turning the helicopter on, and you just need to hold it until the lights actually come on, then you can let go, as long as it's still on. So we'll go ahead and hit bind. Now let's go ahead and talk into the radio, and we're good to go. And we're all set up. So we got our normal modes. I believe this is actually your dual rates, if I remember correctly. Yeah, these are your dual rates up here. So wild is gonna be all the way towards you. Beginner, again, I would recommend having it all the way down. So yeah, this one is good to go. So that is how you bind it with the Zorro. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to bind Futaba on the Zorro as well. It's super simple, very similar. So we're gonna scroll over to Futaba. There it is. So now we're on Futaba. Now the only reason you would want to do this is because you want to, again, edit your flying style if you want to get a little bit more out of the helicopter. My recommendation is learn how to fly with the OMP protocol. It is super easy to set up on the radio because it's already in the radio, so you just go ahead and use that. Copy that program. When you really want to step up and you want to kind of edit your throttle curves and pitch curves, then get the Futaba satellite, and then you could just switch over to the Futaba protocol. But copy and paste the actual M2 one, and then you can edit it from there. So you will have to create your pitch and throttle curves because those are already built in. They're not like a regular helicopter, so the stock OMP protocol will work, but again, you'll have to set up your throttle and pitch curves. All right, so now that we have this all set up, for Futaba, what we're gonna do is go ahead and hold on to our little bind button, same deal. Hold on to the bind button and plug her in. Hold the button with your thumb. Now that light is flashing. And we are good. And now we're bound in Futaba's satellite. All right, so now that we have all of that done, we're gonna move on to the Pocket, which is so similar to this. It's just different button layout. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. So the first thing you're gonna do is, of course, press your model button. And we're going to scroll over to model setup just like the Zorro. So we're going to scroll down to internal, RF, multi, and we're going to go to OMP, which is it should be already on there. So all you would have to do is come down to the bind area. So you're just going to scroll down to your internal RF, make sure it says OMP on it, which it does. So we're going to go ahead and take the helicopter, make sure your throttle hold is on. Take the helicopter, hold on to that button, and plug her in. Now we're flashing again, so we're going to hit the bind button. And it looks like it's taking it. We've got our switches and everything good to go. So that is all set up and ready. So that is how you bind to the OMP protocol. And then you follow the same one for Futaba that we did for the Zorro. So I hope this video helped out a few people, because I know we've got a couple phone calls on where do I find the bind button and how do I do this. You shouldn't have to set up anything in the radio. You should only have to bind it. Worst comes to worst, if you just need to bind it, this should be a very simple video to follow. Like I said, the Pocket is the exact same setup as the Zorro. It's just got a different button layout. So it's the same menu system, so just be on the lookout for that. All right, guys, I hope this video helped you guys out. Like I said, I've got a lot of phone calls on how to like bind it up to the TX16, how to bind it up to any of these. It's a really simple video. I always enjoy making videos like this. So if you guys have any questions about anything in particular with these setups, let me know. I could try to definitely make some more videos of like how to set up stuff with the TX16. As far as we might even be able to just get a model of mine and I can send it to everybody through a link. So that way you guys can, fly it and enjoy it as much as I do on my kind of program, which just has a couple different things. Like I got my throttle hold up here and I've got my idle up over here, and stability is right there. So it's a super simple setup. But if you guys have any other suggestions for videos as far as the M2M1 kind of setup, repair, anything like that, definitely let me know below. This was just something we got a lot of phone calls on recently, so I figured I'd make a video on it, and that way we have something to point people in the right direction. So we'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm gonna go do some flying later.